Yes, this is lecture number 5, Modern English Drama. This is lecture number 5A. Literary elements. It's very important to know some of the literary elements so that it will help you to analyze down or understand any play when you read it. So you are going to read it critically and having understanding the whole uh, literary elements that might help you to understand the play that whenever you read it. So these elements are the plot, the sequence of events in the story. So the plot of the play is you look at the sequence of the events, what comes first, what comes in the middle, what comes in the end. So the sequence of those events in any story or play is the plot of the play. So you have to look at the sequence of the events in any story or a play. This represent or depicts the plot. Characters, the people, animals, or beings in the drama. The characters in the drama. Theme, the central idea, the main idea of or message that is being delivered through the or conveyed through the play. Dialogue, the spoken words between characters. And then the conflict, the struggle between opposing forces, internal or external. Setting, the time and place of the drama. Monologue or soliloquy, when a character speaks alone to himself, revealing their thoughts. So you have to look at those elements when you read or come across any play. Scenery, the background and props that create the environment, the set. Costume, the clothing, accessories worn by the actors. Lighting, the use of light to enhance modern visibility. Sound, music, effects, and audio elements that support the drama. Props, objects used by actors during the performance. Makeup, costumes or prosthetics used to enhance an actor's appearance. Acting, the expression of emotions and actions and dialogue during the play. Facial expressions or body language, which is non-verbal communication that conveys emotion within the play when actors using their body language and facial expression within the stream of the events or actions in the play. This is movement or blocking, the positioning and movement of actors on the stage. Voice, the tone, pitch, and volume used by actors to convey meaning. When they shout, when they whisper, all these things. Timing and or rhythm, the space and flow of the performance. The plot again consists of the introduction of the characters and setting. This is exposition. The rising action, events leading to the climax, where the audience feel intense or intensive. Climax, the turning point or most intense moment. Falling action, events following the climax. Resolution, the conclusion. So the plot, when we look at the incidents or the events of the play, which they all form the plot, we look at the beginning of it, the rising action and the climax, where the audience feel that intense, most intense, and then the falling, and then the events or the actions starting to flow, to fall down, showing the climax, and then there's a resolution, and then the conclusion of the whole events. Example: Romeo and Juliet. The exposition of the plot of that play, Romeo and Juliet, when Romeo and Juliet meet and they start loving each other, and the rising action, their secret love and marriage. This is a rising action. And then the climax, the top of the intense of the whole play, comes when Romeo kills Tybalt, leading to his exile. This is the climax. And then the falling action, Juliet fakes her death. And then the resolution and the conclusion and the solution of the whole intense actions comes when Romeo and Juliet die and their families reconcile. So in every story that you read, you have to look at the exposition of the action, the rising action, and then the climax, the top of the intents of the audience or the readers, and then the following action, and finally the resolution, which is the end of the story or the play. Character, the people, animals, and being, we have like two types of characters: protagonist, the hero, or the main character; antagonist, the opposing force, like Logo or Ogo in Othello; foil character, which means central characters. They are contrasting characters to highlight traits of another. For example, Mercutio to Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. Example, Macbeth, protagonist, the main character; Lady Macbeth, the driving force, this is the antagonist; and the witches, supernatural influence, these are the foil characters or central characters. So every time that you read a play or a story, you have to look at the characters and how you can divide them into the main one, which is the protagonist, and antagonist, the opposing force to the main character or to the protagonist. And you see the conflict very clear here. And then the foiling character, the whole characters around the protagonist and antagonist, which help them to flow through the whole entire journey of the events, through the story or through the play. The themed idea, the central idea of a message or the message of the play. The common theme: love, revenge, fate and free will, power and corruption. These are different kinds of even the themes, like love in Romeo and Juliet, revenge in Hamlet play, fate and free versus free will, Oedipus Rex, power and corruption, Macbeth play. In Death of a Salesman, the theme is the American dream and its disillusionment. Dialogue, is spoken exchange between characters, help reveal characters' personalities and drive the plot forward, and sometimes creates the conflict and tension. To be or not to be, that is the question. This is Hamlet in Shakespeare. Shakespeare in Hamlet. Hamlet's internal conflict about life and death. So you see that the dialogue here reflects that theme, and the conflict is the struggle between opposing forces, and we have different types of conflicts, like man versus man, like in Hamlet versus Claudius; man versus self himself, like Macbeth's guilt; man versus society, like the Crucible, John Proctor's versus Bruton society; man's versus fate or supernatural, like Oedipus fighting fate in Oedipus Rex. Example, in A Streetcar Named Desire, Rush struggles against reality and society's expectations. So during the events of the play or the story, you have to look at the conflict and what type of conflict it is. Is it man versus himself, or man versus man, or man versus society, or fate and supernatural? So you have to identify what kind of conflicts is